What's up, fish peeps? Alien Aquatics back with another video. As you can tell by the thumbnail, I bought a TDS meter so I could test the total dissolved solids in my tank. I did get the Inkbird one off Amazon. It was only $564. Just kidding. It was not that much money. It's like 20 bucks. But anyways, this is going to be an unboxing video. This, as a matter of fact, is my first unboxing video technically. So let's jump right into it. Let's see what we get out of the box, and we'll test a couple of the tanks and talk a little bit about TDS while we're at it. So let's jump right into it. So let's get this thing out of the box. What I like about this so far, as you can see here, it gives you a little bit of a chart to go by as far as what kind of readings you want to see when you actually start testing your tanks. And we'll go over that shortly. I have never tested TDS. This is something I've never worried about, but I wanted to be able to see where my tanks sit. I do test my parameters weekly, so I wanted to add this to my arsenal just to see what I got, because you never do know. You know, sometimes you get them fish that come down with sicknesses and they're not showing any signs of any diseases, but they just die, or they're starting to keel over, so to speak, or roll over. This could be one of them things that you can test to watch out for that's causing stuff like that. You know, maybe you got too many pollutants in your tank, right? So that's just a word on TDS, but let's get this thing unboxed. So it comes in this slip cover. We'll take it off, right? And then we got the TDS meter right here. Like I said, this is the Inkbird one. And you pull it out, and here's the bad boy right here. This top part here is where you're going to put your batteries. I have already installed batteries, just to save some time on the video. Whoops. And on the bottom part is where your electrodes are. And how these things actually measure these in your tank is they pass current over these electrodes and read resistance that you may have in your aquarium. So the higher the resistance, the higher number you get, which means the higher total dissolved solids in the tank. When you're done using this thing, you want to make sure you keep those dried and you cover them up. So to turn this thing on, you have to press and hold just for a few seconds, and it fires right up, as you can see here. You can toggle that backlight off and on just by tapping the button, but if you press and hold on and off, it'll shut it off again. If you hit shift, you can toggle between Fahrenheit or EC, TDS, and down here it's toggling between Celsius and Fahrenheit as far as the degrees go. We want to check TDS, so let's start with that. So let's start with the 55-gallon Tiger Bar tank here. I like to see the backlight. You only have to stick it up in here. You can submerge this whole thing in the water. If you do it by accident, it's not going to hurt it. But they do recommend not leaving the display submerged in water for too long, because you can hurt it. So it's not 100% waterproof. But I always stick it down to this little line here for the cap that holds the cap on, and that's plenty of it enough. So we'll stick this in. They recommend once you put it in to give it a little wiggle to get rid of any air pockets or air buildup on the conductors. And you can hit, oh, sorry. Let's do that again. And there's a hold button. If you press it, it'll hold that value for it, because if you don't hit hold and you pull it out, it's going to instantly go away. What we're reading in this tank is 439 total dissolved solids in this aquarium. Now, from what I understand, an acceptable range in an aquarium is anywhere from 200 or a max of 4 to 450 within the acceptable range. Why I do find that a little bit weird in this tank is because I do have chemical filtration running this, the ChemiPure Elite. That is going to take care of a lot of your heavy metals and things like that, but I don't think it is designed to take care of things like calcium and sulfates and stuff like this. This is a version that is said to lower phosphates, and this is one of the things you can measure with a TDS meter is phosphates, as I said at the beginning of the video. I did go around and measure a couple of other tanks And the only other one that's in this range is my goldfish tank. All the other ones are around 200 range. Well, just in case you were curious what the other thing that I mentioned was this measures, which is EC, is basically just the electrical conductivity that the solution has of the ability to conduct these tests. But we're not really worried about that. I just got this so I can measure my TDS. I do like the fact that it gives you the degrees your water is at. So while you're checking your TDS at the same time, you can also know what temperature your water is, just if you needed another quick visual. Most of us have thermometers and temp guns or whatever to check that stuff anyways. It's not really what we're looking for. Most of us aquarists that buy this are getting them just to check the total dissolved solids in our aquariums. So I do like it's built pretty sturdy. The caps seal tight. The backlight is strong. It's ease of use. It's very easy to use, very easy to understand. You can pull this thing out of the box, not have to read the directions and understand how it works just by messing with the buttons 1 or 2 times. I like the idea that you can have it hold the value, so you know you can just press hold, put it down, dry your hands up, and then grab it and it's still there. Or not that it's a big deal, you can just, which they also give you that option like I described there and showed you, you can just bring it up. As soon as you take it out of the water, it goes away. As for the acceptable range of total dissolved solids, in what I have read, like I said, I guess anywhere from 400 to 450 is an acceptable range that most freshwater aquariums fish will live in. Once you start getting higher than that, you could be running into a little bit of an issue. You might want to think about how we can get our TDSs down. If you have high TDS in your tank that's over 415, you're getting into your 500 and 600 range, I would test your tap water first and see what you got coming out of your tap water. If your tap water TDS is lower than what you have in your aquarium, then you'll be good to go to just do water changes. But if it's higher, you're going to have to think about different purification processes for your water, such as RO systems. Filtering really isn't going to do it. Filtering will take out particulates that are in the water column, but it will not remove or lower your TDS, and neither will chemical filtration. If you have a high TDS in your tank, you might want to think about getting an RO system if it's too high. If it's not that high, you don't really have to worry about it that much. It's not this detrimental thing. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever tested it, and the highest 2 tanks I have is the goldfish and 55-gallon tiger barb tank. But let's not go crazy when we're doing this kind of stuff. Let's not overthink. Let's not get overwhelmed. My fish are happy. They're healthy. If there was an issue, they'd be pacing up and down the glass all the time. They'd be jumping out of their skin, not liking their environment, not eating, sulking, eventually get sick, show signs of disease and stuff like that. And that's just not happening in my aquariums. And like I showed you there, we're at like 400 and whatever. When I did my goldfish tank, it's higher than that. But they're all fine. So observe your fish. It comes down to that. You don't have to get too technical with this and overthink things. So I just wanted to throw that in on this unboxing video. Keep in mind when you're using any kind of electronic device, no matter what you're doing in your life, and using things like the Inkbird or any TDS meter, when you're talking about battery powered things like this takes 2 AAA batteries. I do use Duracell's Power Boost batteries. I love them. I've been using them for a while. They last forever. I've used them in my electric gravel vac and it still goes, where everything else died after 2 or 3 times of use with it. Those Duracell Power Boost batteries truly are worth the money that you pay for them. But the point is, if your battery's getting low, you need to get rid of it and put fresh batteries in, because if you have a low battery, you're going to get error codes. You're going to get inaccurate readings. So keep an eye on them batteries. And if you're not using this for a long while and you know you're not going to, let's pop those batteries out. Don't store them in your device, because if that happens too long, corrosion can build up, and you just don't want to store batteries for long periods of time in anything, in any device, because of inaccurate readings, and it can have the potential to ruin the device. So keep that in mind. Final thoughts on the Inkbird TDS and EC meter. I give it a 5-star so far. I'll do an update on a video on this as the time goes by, which could be years, on its reliability. I can't really give you that information now. It did have good ratings. Like I said earlier, it's built well, it's sturdy, you can squeeze it, and the plastic doesn't snap, crackle, and pop. it is accurate. I didn't talk about the accuracy. It is supposed to be accurate. The temperature measurement accuracy is plus or minus 0.5 degrees Celsius and 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit. The TDS measurement accuracy is plus or minus 2%. So pretty close. No matter what device you get, no matter what you buy, you're never going to get 100% accuracy. You're just not. 2%, I'll take it. So that's right off the box. And then the other thing I like is that they gave you this chart, the water quality testing for TDS in parentheses. Cleanliness is 0 from 50. Subcleanliness is 50 to 100. Slight pollution is 101 to 300. Moderate pollution is 300 to 600, which that will be all my aquariums, except for a few. Some of them are below the 190, 170, 150 range. And of course, severe and dirty water is when you get severe, 6 to 100 to 1,000, and then 1,000 plus, obviously, is you got a lot of pollution. So keep the box around. Not that you have to, but if you wanted to keep the box around, it gives you a quick thing. You can Google a chart as well. It comes up, but just much quicker to give this quick reference right here. So very pleased with it so far. Do I recommend it? Yes. Do I recommend that you should check your TDS in your aquariums periodically? Yeah, absolutely. But do you have to? No. A lot of people don't worry about these things. I haven't. This is the first time I ever got one. So, but that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I certainly appreciate your time. Leave the comments below if you guys measure your TDS or what your experience is in doing this, and give me any advice on this subject that you know, because I like to learn as well. So that's it. Be safe. Have a good rest of your week. And until next video, we'll talk again.